So I get to talk to Erin, who's my former coach and is an expert on people and culture. So the topic, right, is summer and all of the excitement that comes with summer and all of the tensions that come with summer. Why did you pick summer as the topic for our insider newsletter?
Yeah. Well, it's here for some of us and/or it's coming for others. I know I haven't been in formal school for a long time, but my summer brain is still a thing. The pace of work is different, and the schedule is often different, in particular, given vacations that people take. And for those of us with care responsibilities, camp schedules are different than school schedules and such. So we want to make the most of it. It's just a season where so many of us prioritize vacations, and that can lead to a revolving door, which, as you mentioned, can create opportunities, but also some tensions.
So, what's your advice for a leader or an organization as they approach the summer, knowing that the goals don't change, but people take time off? How should someone be thinking about that? How should they be dealing with it?
Yeah, I think a couple of things come to mind, and it's not that the goals need to change, but I think they need to decrease. I think, as with any other time of the year, it's really important to be clear about what needs to get done. And in summer, maybe the list is a little shorter. And by being really clear about what the team needs to get done over the summer, setting that up in advance, being clear about who's out when and who's covering for what in terms of decisions, management responsibilities, relationships, tasks, and deliverables, you can set the team up for success and having that really shared accountability.
How do you think about protecting the people who aren't on vacation?
Yeah. I'd say, summer is usually a time where you could get a little bit more leeway with like partners, and most things that come across our plates are not emergencies. But sometimes we're in that hustle bustle of just delivering and doing that we don't necessarily stop to think like, okay, does this really need to happen this week? Could I say, listen, three of my senior leaders are out. I'd really love to involve them in this discussion. Is it okay if I get back to you by the end of next week? Folks understand that, and they don't want to create undue stress, when waiting till the end of next week wouldn't create a big burden for them either. So I think really reassessing to what extent, not only what you need to get done, but if other things come up, whether or not it really needs to be pushed onto the plates right now. There are ways that slower pace can be used to our advantage in terms of just creating those manageable workflows.
I love the concrete advice of like just naming it, right? Like a lot of senior leadership are out on vacation. It's going to take me an extra week, but I'll get back to you by this date. What are your thoughts on how, leaders and organizations should use summer to just reset?
Yeah. So I love this, and I was not here for a long time in my career. I think realizing, in particular for leaders who have a lot of external responsibilities, we all know, like getting in touch with board members, really impossible in the summer, right? Like they're elsewhere. So there is a slowdown in terms of that work, and there's, I think, some energy that can be regained from it to go towards a reset. I'd sit and think like, what were my major tension points or challenges in my year, and if I could wave a magic wand and change it, what would I do? When I ask clients this, the number one answer is, I just need time to think. I'm like, great. And this is something we're working on all year, right? But like in the summer, it might be a lot easier to block out that thinking time. And that's not only important to give us that time and space to actually think, but it's also, you can use the summertime to create new habits so that they can maintain us and maintain it being in our schedule throughout the rest of the year. So blocking out that thinking time, getting ahead on our calendar, getting ahead on planning. I think the summer is the time where you can start to look at, okay, what are Q2 and Q3 of the rest of the year need to include, and how can we space it out in a way that makes sense, or at least try to. The last thing I'd say is, resetting your time with your team, and there's so many fun things to do in the summer. It doesn't have to be a retreat with a full agenda. It can just be like one of my clients took his team to the Scooper Bowl, which is an ice cream thing in Boston, a week or 2 ago. He was like, "It was so fun." And a lot of us got sick because we challenged each other to eat too much ice cream, but it was still so much fun.
How do you make the time for thinking time? Like summer Fridays is a thing, but
Yeah,
is it like thinking Mondays or like, yeah,
yeah.
how do you actually carve it out?
It's a great question, and I think at the end of the day, you have to know yourself. and know what's going to work for you. So, like, for example, knowing yourself, for me, if I were to schedule thinking time at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I would never get anything done. My energy dips, my focus it's just not there. For me, thinking time has to be somewhere between like 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. And I need to schedule like social time or networking calls or coaching sessions. I can do those in the later afternoon. And so knowing yourself, knowing when you're going to be tapped into your most focused energy. I would say two other strategies come to mind. You have to block it in advance. It's got to be like a DNS, do not schedule. We all know if we leave our calendars open, they're going to fill with someone else's priorities. And so making sure that yours get in there, if thinking time is one of them, really important. The last thing I'll say is there is something really powerful about being in community with others when you need to focus on something. And so these ideas of like online power hours or virtual co-working sessions, where if it's virtual, you log in, you say either in the chat or verbally what you're going to do during that work block. You go off camera, maybe someone plays some focus music, you decide, but you work on it, and then you come back on at the end of the block and you say how far you went. Speaking what our intentions out loud drives accountability in ways that are really powerful. And it's really validating to say, I'm going to do this. And then I did it. And here, cheers or stars in the screen when you're done with it.
How do you make it so you're not just, I feel like I had these awesome vacations and then I don't sleep at all the first 2 weeks that I'm back because it's just, it's coming at me so quickly. Do you have any thoughts on like re-entry?
So many thoughts. I think, and this is, I don't mean to be a broken record on it, but like blocking time is really important, right? Give yourself time to get on top of your email when you get back, right? Like there's probably a lot of volume in there, and it's better to work through that before you start going in and checking in with people, because then you're up to speed, at least as much as in your inbox, which is usually a lot of it. So I think that time, just being really intentional about how you use your first few hours, if not your first day back on the job, is really important.
I love this. Is there anything that you feel like, do you have like here's my one tip or here's my couple things to keep in mind?
Well, so I'm not a purist when it comes to vacation. I'm not a like, everybody must fully disconnect, because I know, like, I've taken enough of my own vacations and I've coached enough leaders through their own to know that like sometimes it just doesn't feel like that's going to set people up for success. And that's fine. You have to make that judgment call as a leader. The thing that I encourage people to do is be intentional about how you're disconnecting. If you're going to be on your email, be really clear about why, and don't just respond to every little thing, because that sends a message that vacations aren't really vacations, and teams will see that and wonder how they should handle their own. Another thing I see leaders do, and I always wonder why, I do not advise putting your cell phone number in your out of office message. I know this sounds super tactical, but like if someone really needs to contact you in an emergency, they already have your cell phone number. You don't need to broadcast that to everyone. And so trust whoever you're delegating to, be the one who contacts you in the case of emergency to make that call for you. And if you anticipate there could be a bunch of things that come up, schedule a check-in at a time that works for you. It's not about everything. It's about these 3 things because they're high priority, top of the list, and I feel some responsibility to drive them even though I'm a little bit disconnected.